Welcome to the Onion Buns. So for this episode of Happy Day, we got a birthday. Today not today, April 1st is the date I gave for Fafs' birthday. Now, before I get into the story of Faf, if you like the content I create here, please leave a like, a subscribe, and a share. I'm trying to grow the channel, and by liking, subscribing, and sharing, you help me out immensely. And with a share, you share it, people can see it. If they like it, they like it. If they don't, they move on. No harm, no foul. So yeah, I'd really appreciate the help. As I said, I'm trying to grow the channel. So April 1st is the day I gave for Faf's birthday. Everyone meet Faf. And he doesn't like being on camera, apparently. All right, you can go sleep. So Faf is a street cat who adopted. In the world of Andrzej Sapkowski's The Witcher, he is my child of surprise. I wasn't planning on him. I didn't know about him, but he's become family. So I was sitting downstairs playing, I think I was playing Starfield or Cyberpunk, playing something. And I heard my other two cats, Motor and TK, they're losing their absolute minds upstairs. They're howling away. I'm like, what the hell is going on? So I go upstairs and they're looking out the window at Faf. Faf is in my yard and he's mousing. So I'm like, okay, well, I open the door and I go out there, and typically when I have a feral cat or a stray cat in my yard, the minute they see a human, they're gone. Boom. Not Faf. The minute he saw me, he came running over and he's hopping and he's headbutting and he's purring and rubbing against me, and so naturally I assumed he had to be somebody's cat. Now, I don't like or approve of people letting their cats out in urban areas, and I live in an urban area. I live in Edmonton. It's a different story if you're on a farm and it's surrounding there, no one they're comfortable with, but too much can happen in an urban area, especially where I live. I'm only about 20 blocks removed from coyote paths. And so it's really dangerous to let your cats out in Edmonton. It's lots of traffic, coyote paths, some insane people that just want to hurt cats. My neighbor, actually, their cat died a few years ago. What they told me is it got into a fight with a jackrabbit and the jackrabbit killed it. Now, in hindsight, we suspect it may have been a coyote and not a jackrabbit, but it doesn't matter. Dead is dead. They came out one morning and they just saw white fur everywhere and blood on the grass strewed out to the road. So, it's very sad. So Faf was in my yard and he was mousing, and I went out there and he's all attention, just purring away, having a ball. So I took a picture of him to post on the local lost cats in case anyone's looking for him. But I was pretty much I thought for sure he was somebody's cat. He was just too affectionate. So I took out some food. I took out some water. He ate the food. He ate the water. He got lots and lots of attention. And then I went back in the house and I watched him as he caught a mouse and jumped the fence. Then a few minutes later, he came back and he caught another mouse, jumped the fence again, and he was gone. Okay, whatever. So I posted on the Edmonton Lost Pets, and somebody replied a couple days later saying, hey, I think I just saw this cat in my yard, and they were like 12, 13 blocks away from me. So he was getting his rounds. So I'm like, okay, well, that's strange. So I said, okay, if he comes back in my yard, I'm going to crate him up and take him into the vet to check for a microchip. So a couple weeks goes by and the weather's starting to turn. This was late fall of last year. And the weather was starting to turn. And once again, Motor and TK, they're losing their absolute shit upstairs. So I come upstairs and sure enough, there's Faf in my yard again. So this time I open the door and I'm walking out the door and the little bugger tries to run in my house. I stop him and I give him attention. I give him some more food and everything. And the one thing I noticed is when you have a cat, if it's well fed, and Faf is very muscular because he was living on the street, so he had to be. But if he's well fed, if you notice at the very bottom of their stomach, they'll have this little pouch. And what that is that's food in reserve for when they don't have food. That's how their body feeds themselves when they're not eating. Faf did not have that. It was flat. His belly was flat. So I got him, I petted him and everything, and then I put him in the crate, and he didn't fight me at all. And I got him in the vehicle, and I drove out to Sherwood Park and to emergency vet there, because this was after hours, and asked them if they could do a free microchip scan, and they did, and he had a microchip. Okay, well, this fits. Like I said, I thought he was somebody's cat. So they called the owner, and apparently his name was Biscuit, but he didn't, you say his name, and there was absolutely no recognition of that name to him. So he may have been named Biscuit at one time, but he had been out on the street long enough that that name was meaningless to him. So they called the number, and nobody answered. So they left a message, and they're like, so what do we want to do here? And I'm like, well, I guess I'll just take him home, because this was the Saturday of a long weekend. So the ACC Animal Care and Control wasn't open until Tuesday. And the vet didn't have the room to store a street cat. So I said, okay, I'll take him home. I'll put him in my cat room, and, I'll just over the weekend. And so that's what I did. And the vet said, they would keep trying to call the owner. And they did. They called twice on Saturday, twice on once on Saturday, twice on Sunday, twice on Monday, because Monday was the holiday. And they left messages, no response. Tuesday comes along, I go down to the ACC and I tell them my story, and they go, okay, well, we'll book up an intake appointment. I'm going, I kind of like the little guy. So if his owners don't want him, I think I'll adopt. And they go, okay, that's great. Why don't you just keep him at home? And what I had to do, I had to put up a picture and a post on the ACC site for 10 days as he was microchipped. The local bylaw said 10 days for a microchipped cat and 4 days for an unmicrochipped cat. So I had to wait the 10 days, and the ACC, they tried calling this person 3 times as well. And they even went into the records and found out he had actually been licensed 1 year in his first year as an infant. So the owner, they got him as a kitten, they licensed him, they got him fixed, and then something happened. So anyway, they never could get a hold of the owner. The owner never did respond or anything. My personal theory on this is Faf is a very vocal cat, extremely vocal. Like when I'm doing videos, you'll probably, in a number of videos, hear him talking in the background. He is extremely vocal. And I think what happened is they got him as a kitten, and he was cute, he was cuddly, everything a kitten is. But as he got older, he was no longer the kitten, but he was very vocal. And when I say he's very vocal, he's vocal 24 hours a day. If he's not sleeping, he's talking. And I think they got annoyed with him and they abandoned him. They just tossed him outside and closed the door, is what I think happened. So he was out on his own, and I don't know if he was out for 1 year, 2 year, 3 years. I don't know. All the vet will tell me is they pegged his age at between 3 and 4 years old. And this was the fall. So I said, why don't we go with 3.5, and I'll give him the birthday of April 1st. And that's how he got his birthday of April 1st. And yeah, so that was his story. And he came in and he absolutely loves it indoors. If I open the front door to go out in the yard, he will run into a different room. He won't even go near the door. He'll spend most of his day looking out the window at the front or the back. He'll be watching and looking out the window and everything. But he has absolutely no desire to ever be outside. Now, the other thing about Faf is in the pictures, you notice there's a couple of pictures where he's wearing this Christmas t-shirt. When he came in, and I didn't notice this at first, I figured this out I think it was the second day. I was scratching his head and there was a lump there. I'm like, what the hell is this? So I'm scratching away, and it was a claw embedded in his forehead. So he had clearly been in a fight outside, and that's probably why he was trying to run in. As much as I like to think he just wanted to live here, I think that's probably why he was trying to run in, is he had been in a fight, and at closer inspection, he had 2 very deep bite marks right on his chest, just like right where my fingers are on his chest. And he had been it had been bothering, and he'd been licking, and he had licked all the fur off. And so I took him to the vet. They looked at him and said, yeah, it's bite marks and everything. And they suggested a cone. And this cat is way too active. I am convinced this cat has bangle in it with the amount of running and leaping and crashing and banging it does. So I said, I don't see him tolerating a cone well. And they said, well, try a t-shirt because it would go over the bite marks and he wouldn't be able to bite it. So yeah, he had to wear the t-shirt for 3.5 weeks. He wasn't happy about it, not at all. But that's why he had the t-shirt. And yeah, it cleared up. And as you saw when I held him up, there's no bites there or anything, and he's in good shape now. But yeah, that's Faf. And how I came up with his name is, as I said, I first noticed him in my yard mousing. Well, when I first saw him, he was kind of a dirty gray and white cat. And I think that was because he was outside. Being inside now for 6 months, his gray has turned more black. He's more of a black and white cat now. So I saw him as gray and white. So I'm thinking Faffer and the Gray Mouser. Well, I'm not going to name my cat Gray Mouser. So I went with Faffer, but that doesn't really roll off the tongue. So we ended up with Faf, and he loves it. He completely responds to it. So anyway, April 1st was his birthday. He is officially now 4 years old. He is happy. He is content. He is loving life, and he never has to worry about being outside again. He can meow up a storm. I'm a sound enough sleeper that it doesn't bother me. So yeah, happy birthday, Faf. Welcome home. You got a home, and you're good for going forward. And that's my happy days story for this week. So if you liked the video, leave a like and subscribe. As I said earlier, I'm trying to grow the channel. A like, a subscribe, and a share help me immensely. If you didn't like the video, leave a dislike. But if you didn't like the video, well, get used to it. I love cats, and there's going to be more cat stories. So, and as always, pew, 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 and shit. Thanks for watching. Bye.